Hi guys, welcome to the Droid Consulting YouTube channel. My name is Opsi Ganil and I am a consultant at Droid Consulting. Right. So today we're going to be talking about Zoho CRM, and the specific model we're going to be looking at today is the leads model. The leads model is the model where you store all records of all prospects and all their records of anyone who has reached out to you based on your business process. I'm talking about, they will be coming from the social media, from your social media, they will be coming from your website, they will be coming from external referrals, in-person sales, field sales agents, working customer, all of those are your lead sources, right? So a lead basically, is someone or a prospect. A lead could also be called a prospect, right? But I'm going to be giving us the definition as a general term, right? So a lead basically is a person who has shown interest in your business. So that means this person knows what you do and they are interested in doing business with you. So how you move them from being a lead to a customer it is dependent on your business process. But for this sake of this training, right, we will be talking about how to add leads into Zoho CRM and also how to import leads into Zoho CRM. Importation of leads means we are bringing in multiple leads. Let's say 1,000 leads, 2,000 leads, 100 leads, and all of that. Your existing leads, right? Maybe they were gotten from a particular source and you're bringing them into the system, or they are even coming from your website directly through a format, but you want to bring them into the system. All of this can be done, but for now we're going to be talking about how to import them and how to add a lead manually. So now let's get started into adding our first lead in Zoho CRM, right? So to add your lead into Zoho CRM, right, you find it by the top left corner. You find the leads module, right? This is the leads module. So once you click on the leads module, you'll be seeing these options here. You'll be seeing two buttons, right? The first one is to create a lead and the second one is to import leads, right? So for this create a lead, basically is to add, is to add just one lead, right? Maybe someone reached out to you through phone call earlier in the day, and you were able to take down their details, right? And now you're in the system and you want to add it to the system, you want to add their record, you want to save their record into the system. You can do that by click on this create lead. But if you have an existing lead, maybe on a spreadsheet, right, you have their name as a column, you have their name, their phone number, their first name, their last name, their phone numbers, their signature, and their designation, and their organization, right? If you have any basic information that you have about them, right, can be populated on the spreadsheet. Then you can import it using this option, which is import lead, right? So when you are doing the importation, the file has to be stored in either an Excel sheet or in a CSV file, right? So that should be noted. And you can see from here, the system is telling us that there are a lot of ways to bring your leads, right? They could be coming from your web form, email, website visitors, even Google Ads, right? Maybe this may not even be just only Google Ads, it may even be your Google contacts, right? So the system allows you to sync and to bring in those leads, right? To bring in the records from where they had been earlier stored into the system, right? So now let's get started into creating our first lead. So now we'll be creating our first lead. Okay, so now we want to create our first lead. We are in the system now, as you can see. So the first thing we'll be seeing here, you can see there's a lead image, right? So which is basically the image of the lead you are adding. Maybe when they were providing you that information, they give consent for that image, right? They sent you that image as well. You can add it to the system just for you to be able to identify that, okay, this is lead A, this is lead B, right? So that's for the lead image. Then another thing to note here is the first name, right? You added their first name, okay. So now let's go ahead and and test the interface of all of this. So for the first name, we'll be having a sample data called Harold, right? We'll be using Harold, okay. And you can see from here we have the title, right, which is basically the designation. So for this designation, let's call him the CFO, right? Harold is the CFO in this case, right? And we have the phone number. Do we have his phone number? Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and add Harold's phone number to it, right? Remember, this is test data, so we are imputing, random data here, right? So before we get to the other part of this lead information, let's look at the other side of it, and let's populate the data here. As you can see from here, we have something called company, right? So this is a very important field that needs to be populated, because while converting this lead to a customer, the company that has been added, right? The data populated in the company will be stored as account, right? Which is to make reference back to this person after they have been converted, after the lead has been converted into a contact. But we'll be getting into those parts in the next video that we'll be making. But for the sake of this particular session, we'll stick to creating of a lead only, right? So now let's add the company where Harold works, right? So let's say it works at it works at Steve Globals, right? It works at Steve Globals. Okay, so now we also need to populate the last name of Harold, right? It has a first name, so it should definitely have a last name. So for his last name, we're gonna call Mark. So here we have our customer, our prospect, right? Our lead here is called Harold Mark, right? So if you have that email, we can definitely add that as well. So let's have a sample email for Harold Mark. Let's call it Harold Mark at Steve Globals .org. Remember, this is just a test data, so any data you see here, they are random data, right? They do not represent any individual person, right? So that's for that. So if you have the website, which is Steve Globals.org, so you can populate the data, right? So any data you have of this lead, it can always be added. So let's say if Harold is having two phone numbers, right? He has a phone number and also have a mobile number, so we can go ahead and add the mobile number as well. Right now we've added his mobile number. So an important field also here to notice the lead source, right? So lead source is basically where this lead is coming from, right? So the system is asking us, the system wants to know where this lead was gotten from, right? Like I mentioned earlier, your lead could be gotten from anywhere. It could be coming from your website, from your social media, from in person, could be coming as a working customer, external referral, right? They could even be coming from your field agent, right? Your field agents, they could be coming from it. So now for this lead source, for this lead source, let's choose okay. So let's choose external referral. Yes, I think we can go with that. Let's choose external referral. There's also another lead status, right? This is an indicator to the system to know what has been done with this lead, right? There could be a new lead, right? It could be a lead that has been reached out to. Even when they reach out to you based on a particular request, you contact them back and you've gotten what they wanted, or depending on how your business process works, right? So it's just an indicator to know what has been done, the stage that has been attained with this list. You can see we have some pick list data here, right, which is by default on Zoho CRM. All of this can be changed. I will get to those parts in the subsequent videos that we'll be making, right? So here now we have some pick list values that we can select. We have attempted to contact, which means you intend to contact this lead in a particular time, right? Or contact in future. That means it is even contact in future means it is undefined at all. It may be a longer time, maybe weeks or months, right? And you also have contacted, so that means you've contacted this person already. We have junk lead, so that means the person lost interest. Maybe when they reach out, when you followed up with them, they made it obvious that we are no longer interested, in this, right? So depending on the status of the status of what has been achieved with this particular lead. But here we're gonna leave it at contacted, right? Okay, let's leave it at attempted to contact, right? So that means we haven't contacted this lead yet, and we need to contact them. We need to reach out to them as soon as possible. So there are some other fields here that can be populated, right? If you have their industry, we can add it here, depending on the information that you know about this lead. Any data can be added to it, right? And you also know their annual revenue, you can add it, right? Their number of employees, all of this information. You can see we have their Twitter handle here, right? So if you have their Twitter handle, they can be added here. And leaving all of this basic information now, if you have their address information now, so you can see we can add it. So let's say Harold, it stays in it stays in California, right? It stays in Second West, right, Street, right, California, and the country is USA. Right, so we've added all the information we have about this lead, right? So now that this is done, we can go ahead and save our currently now, as you can see from the top right corner, we have 3 buttons here, right? The first one is cancel, the second one is save and new, and the third one is save, right? For the cancel, that means we are not going to save this information that has been populated. For the save and new, that means we're going to save it, but we still want to add a new lead, right? Maybe there is another lead that we need to create, so the system will save and it will pop up this same layout for us, but it will be without no data. That means we want to add a new lead to that. But if you click on save, that means we're going to save this data, right? And it's going to show us the data that has been saved. So for now, we're going to save this data and want the system to show us what has been saved, right? We want to see the leads we have on the system. So now let's go ahead and click on save. Yes, so we can see that our data has been saved, right? This lead has been added into Zoho CRM in the leads module, right? And these are the information that we have about this lead, right? The lead holder basically is just the user in the system adding this lead, right? If there are multiple users in the organization, in the CRM, right, you can change the lead owner at any time. But you can see when I click on it, my system is saying I am the only one in the organization. So that's why I'm unable to change the lead owner. But if there are multiple users in the system, in the CRM, you can assign the lead to another user. That is for that. So as you can see from here, apart from adding them as a lead, there are various options that can be done, right? You can send them an email, right? You can send email to your lead. Maybe there's a particular email that you send to leads after they've been added, so you can always send it to them, right? So we can convert them into a contact. We can edit this same record that we've added, right? The same allows us to edit it anytime and update the data, because their numbers, the basic information could always change at any time. Their emails could change, their phone number could change, even their organization, right? So the system allows us to change all of this data as that. The system allows us to change this data, to update this data anytime we would like to make changes into it. And there are no limitations to the number of times you can make changes to your leads, right? And there is this 3-dot option, right, which is to clone, to delete, right, to print, and all of those other actions that need to be taken on this list, right? So now to see the list of leads that we have in the system, what we need to do is to click on this leads module once again. So once we click on it, right, the system is going to show us all the leads that we have here. So you can see currently we have just one lead, who is Harold, that we just added into the system. As you can see, the lead name, the company, the email. So if there are other leads like that, it should be listed in the same view, right? Their lead name, their company, their email, the phone, and the source and the lead owner, right? So that's basically how to add a lead into Zoho CRM manually, right? So now that's for the first part of this session. Now let's move on to the second part of this session, which is how to import leads into Zoho CRM. Importation of leads means you have multiple records. You have a numbered list of leads that you want to bring into the system. It could be 100, it could be 1,000, it could be 2,000, it could even be more than that, right? But we're bringing them into the system, into the leads module in Zoho CRM. So now let's get into that. So to do that, you have to be on this module. You have to be seeing the lead. You have to click. The first thing we're going to do is we need to click on this same leads module, right, just to refresh the system. So once we are seeing the list of all the leads here, there's this option here. You see we have two buttons here, right? The first one is create lead and the second one is action, right? So beside this create lead, there's this drop down menu here. So once we click on it, so you can see we have import leads and we have import notes. But what we're going to be doing here is we are importing leads, not notes, right? So let's import some existing leads that we have already. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we are clicking on the link to import our leads. So having clicked on that button to import leads, you see the system shows us. The system is showing us it's giving us two instructions, right? It's asking that are you dropping, are you uploading a file? I mentioned earlier we can import our lead either as a CSV file or as an Excel sheet, right? So the system is telling us that okay, you can yes, you can download a sample file. So the sample file in this case is that once we click on to download it, the system is going to download into our desktop a sample file. So with this sample file, we can populate the data, we can populate the leads, our list of leads that we have already, using the format that the system has already given to us. So this way it will make it easier for us when we are importing the leads, right, to ensure that our data are properly organized in the leads module, just like we want it to be added, right? So that's for from the file. The another option is to import from other CRMs. Let's say you were using maybe Salesforce, or you were using Microsoft Dynamics, or you are using Odoo, right? If you have other CRM the data system that you are using, right, before coming to Zoho CRM, and you want to import your leads from this system into Zoho CRM, the system also allows you to choose, right, to choose that and go ahead and bring those leads from the other CRM system into Zoho CRM, right? But for now, what we're gonna be doing is to import our leads using a file, right? So let's go ahead and click on this to bring our existing lead into the system. Okay, now let's go ahead and upload our leads into Zoho CRM, right? So now our file is being uploaded. As you can see, our leads, the file we are uploading, right, which contains our leads, has been uploaded successfully, and the system has confirmed that. So now let's go ahead and click on next and go ahead with the process, right? So we have three options. The first one is to add as new leads, which is basically what we're trying to do, right? The next one is to update existing leads solely. So if the record you are bringing into the system are existing already, right, do you want the system to update them based on the new information you are feeding into the system? So that's basically what that instruction implies. And you can also do both, right, to import to bring in new leads and also to update existing leads as well, right? But here we are only adding them as new leads. So let's go ahead and click on next, right? So we've done that. So the next thing we'll do here is called feed mapping. So automatically, because we have the fields on the sheet that we uploaded, right, we have them as columns, right, and those fields are identical to the fields in Zoho CRM, right? So Zoho CRM has been able to automatically map the columns on the Excel sheet with the fields on Zoho CRM in the leads module, right? So now everything is now mapped with each other, right? So this implies that once the importation has been completed, right, the data will be organized in the preferred fields, right, which the data should be added to, right? So you can see here we have first name to first name. This is from the file that we uploaded, and these are the fields in Zoho CRM itself. So you can see that everything is identical. We have phone to phone, title to title, company and company, right? And these are the sample data that we have on the file, right? So now let's go ahead yes, let's go ahead and click on next and see what comes up next. So we're clicking on next now, and let's see. Okay, so I think this is the last stage, right? This is the last stage. So here now the system has this clause that we need to confirm, right? This is basically for us to confirm that the email addresses that we're bringing into the system, right? That we have the consent of the record owner, right, to bring the record into the system and to also send them emails, right? So this is to ensure that the email that we are sending doesn't land in the spam box of our recipients, right, of these leads, right? So we need to check this box, right, because by default it will be unchecked. So we're gonna check it now, and we're going to click on finish, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So we can see here it said the leads import has been scheduled. Okay, so it's yes, the leads import has been scheduled. So the system is still bringing up the lead that we've imported, and it will take a minute. Okay, I think it's here already now. Okay, so now we have it here. It says the leads imported successfully, right? This is the file name, which is test leads, right? So the system is asking us to refresh the browser to access it. Okay, so now let's go ahead with the instruction and refresh our browser to see if the lead that we've added is coming into the system. The lead that we imported rather is coming into the system, right? So let's see. Okay, it's coming up. Okay, so here we can see that the lead that we imported is now showing up. This is the only lead that we added manually in the first session that we had, right? While all these leads, right, which are 10 in number, which are 9 in numbers, right, are the one that we imported, right? So you can see all of these ones are imported leads, right? So that's basically it. So in this section we've been able to cover how to add leads manual into Zoho CRM, how to add leads manually into Zoho CRM, and also how to import leads into Zoho CRM, right? So this will be the end of the session. Like I said earlier, the name is Opsi Daniel. I'm from Dredge Consulting. Please do like, watch, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please do subscribe to our channel for our next video, right? Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.
Droidage Consulting, powering your business with smart digital solutions. From automation to analytics, we help you work faster, smarter, and better. Let's build the future together.